Welcome back, League fans, to the North American LCS Summer Finals. Game 3 TSM was a well-oiled machine. They crushed their matchup right there. Sub 30 minutes, the TSM we expected twice in a row now. Fast, hardcore, crushing it, and now they're heading back up to their stage to make it one last game.
You know, one of the big things there for C9 in that game 3 was that it just felt like they were trying to force plays too hard. They get a flash, they get a cooldown, and they want more. They always want to go for more, especially Meteos, forcing around mid lane, forcing around bot lane. They get both flashes, and they're not happy with that. They're trying to go for the big play.
And it's so tricky because they're super close to working, and you don't want to be overcome by the pressure to not try, so they're going for it, but they're almost giving into the pressure and trying too hard. And that's why the momentum is so far in TSM's favor, just because so many of those close plays that seem like they could have gone either way have in a row gone to TSM.
And you have to feel like when your top laner is doing so well in the 1v1, give him a chance to carry, give him a chance to make the plays on the top side of the map, to carve out his own advantages, play safe, wave clear, play 4v4, very standard, very safe, and let Impact do something. Let him draw pressure and then try to make a play.
And unfortunately, that didn't quite happen. You saw glimmers of it. There was the three-man gank top side where C9 nearly killed the mid lane turret. It just took 7 seconds of solo time afterwards to knock it down. And there were elements, but it just wasn't quite enough. So here we go into what could be the final game of the series. C9, we know they can bounce back, but they've lost 2 in a row already.
You have to wonder what the adaptations, if any, are going to be here for C9. Do they have the confidence to go back to something like Zach?
Yeah, and there's so much they can do here, right? They don't need to necessarily ban Vladimir if they wanted the first pick. I would love to see them take Jhin away from Doublelift. Also, people are talking about separating the Cassiopeia and the Rek'Sai because that's given a lot of mid lane control to Bjergsen and Svenskar in this whole game. There are a lot of things C9 could do. I'm just not sure what they're going to do.
Well, the pressure's on, of course. TSM have been willing to take Jhin very early on in the draft. They've picked it roughly as their second champion every time so far this series. Maybe it comes in one more time. Never are these teams allowed to play Gangplank. Never is TSM allowed to play Karma or Sivir. Those bans haven't really gone anywhere.
And I'm very surprised that Bjergsen has been able to play Cassiopeia blind into Jensen multiple times and not been meaningfully punished. Jensen should be able to crush a lot of people given the counter pick or even get advantages, but it's been Bjergsen actually carrying a lot of these team fights. And they just give up trying to counter pick it, they ban it.
And there it is, the Cassiopeia ban that may lead to the first pick of Vladimir. I know you've been mentioning several times, Jad, the CNN have not shown a propensity to playing the champion. So with TSM banning it, it makes you feel like TSM knows they do, or at least thinks they do. But they're taking a long time in this last ban. What's it going to be? Do you remove that option one more time? What are the first pick options?
And it's Tahm Kench, so it could be the trade. Hey, if you take Gnar, we take Vladimir, or you take Vladimir, we take Gnar, and those are both champions that have been very key throughout the playoffs. So now it's time to find out how much priority does C9 really put on that Vladimir.
Vladimir, Jhin, Rek'Sai, I feel like those 3 champs are grabbed. Well, and Gnar's actually the 4th, which is a little bit helpful to C9, that now you've got 4 really important champions that you get some back on the blue side, but where they go is honestly up to entirely the team's priority, because any one of those 4 could be a first pick.
It's also very scary. You know, Rek'Sai, we're talking about the importance of Rek'Sai, get Meteos on Rek'Sai on the analyst desk, but if you first pick Rek'Sai, you give away Gnar and Vladimir for the solo lanes, that's a scary world to live in. So it's a tough choice to make, and they're going to make it. Rek'Sai gets first pick. We'll see what their response will be.
Willing to go into that scary world.
Yeah.
And I do actually wonder if TSM will lock in both their solo lanes too early, because that says exactly the type of team composition they'd want to play. I actually think they could do something like Vladimir Jhin.
Certainly.
It really depends on what you think the priorities actually are, because when C9 was in this exact situation with the first pick Rek'Sai, they went for Gnar and Trundle. They thought Trundle was still a really important early pick support. They've continued to pick it early on for themselves, always in their second to third champion really here. And the question is, does TSM feel in a similar way? The Jhin, I think, does likely go away. It's been good for Doublelift so far. Vladimir alongside it can make sense. Actually, they think the Trundle is as important as C9 said it was. That was a sort of worthy early pick. The Vladimir does come through, which now makes us think, is it just going to be Jhin and Gnar?
Smoothie's Trundle has been spectacular throughout the series, and there is a Tahm Kench ban, so I can see why they do it. But with all those other picks that are up, I'm actually very surprised to see that, because now Gnar and Jhin could go through to C9, and that's a power composition for them.
Plus, it's not like the support pool falls off that much. Bard is available here. Smoothie's great on that. Tarek is available here. Smoothie's great on that. Nosy would be playing into a melee matchup. He doesn't have to take it here. Those options are on the table.
It's the weird thing where sitting here, we're like, we don't quite understand why Trundle's so highly prized, but both these teams are telling us that Trundle is this important that you need to pick it by your second or third champ, or it goes away and you don't get the chance here. But yes, that does mean the champs we've seen do well, the Gnar and the Jhin, are the current hovers, and those are going to be locked in here in Toronto.
Sneaky getting his first crack at the champion here. We'll see if he can perform, if he can take over, as he has been known to do on this champion. It's definitely one of his signature 80 carries.
Yeah, expect them to try and do a lot of stuff in the lane. They still have the ability to see a little bit more of TSM's composition before they pick their support, and I expect them to be going very aggressive now.
I think you have to see it come in, and also you can still see what 80 carry they go for. We know Ashe is the common one, but Doublelift has shown us great Lucian games. Ezreal is actually a common counter elsewhere in the world, especially over in Asia. And he goes, oh yeah, it's my turn, I've got to pick this one. And actually, they're going to save 80 carry for last. They're going to go Shen in the top lane, and they will put on the other side of the jungle matchup, the Gragas goes over.
Making a bit of a change here, I think, is maybe needed in the top lane. We have seen Haunter struggle in that Echo versus Gnar matchup, so he's going to go to the Shen. He's going to go more to the team play, and we'll see how they're going to be able to deal with that, because I think that there's a lot of strong dive on TSM right now with the Shen, with the Vladimir, all the Gragas as well, just piling in on someone like a Jhin.
Yeah, there's a couple of interesting situations here. I like what Gragas might do for this game, the Shen as well, because this seems like a setup for Malzahar mid. Normally, Tom Kent, I think, very good against Malzahar. You saved whoever was going to be abducted by the Nether Grasp, and Malzahar has been the common counter pick to Vladimir when it wasn't Cassiopeia. We know Jensen plays the champion very well. Doesn't have to go that way, of course, but it's been common. And no, he's hovering Talia as the pickup here.
Right.
Wow. With the Braum support.
We have seen an absence of Talia in this series, despite it having a lot of priority throughout the playoffs. I think because there's been so much damage in the mid lane, but this means Jensen's going to be looking to be very mobile in this game and really try and play off having winning lanes to go and make some early game dives. C9 going to have to go all in with this composition.
Talia is extremely high priority in a lot of other regions. You see in LPL, LMS, it's picked all the time, every single game in some of those series. I don't think we're going to get that one.
Would be cool, though. I mean, certainly there's plenty of support for him, but yeah. And you can see that TSM are waiting. They know they're going to go Gragas. They pretty much knew they were going to go Shen. They said, let's see what the rest of C9's comp actually is. How much pain is there? How explosive is the composition? They say, okay, the X Factor is Braum and Talia. Those are the new ones in. They've got engage tools. Okay, well, what does that mean for Doublelift's champion? Do you want something more agile? They hovered Lucian earlier, the Vayne, and Lucian does come through. So something a bit more self-sufficient, something a bit more agile comes in. And we will break out of that Ashe-Jhin dichotomy. Doublelift gets his pocket pick.
Yeah, he really loves playing Lucian. He played it so much during the regular season, and it makes sense in this context. If he was playing Ashe, he's a little bit more of a sitting duck if they do get in a situation where Talia is ulting them from the mid lane while Sneaky's opening up with a curtain call. Now he can at least have a chance of surviving in those scenarios, and there's also the sneaky chance of him being a hyper carry since they do have the Shen to give him some giant shields late game.
And you know how aggressive Doublelift likes to be. If you get going on the Lucian, you really do have the ability to bully these guys out, to smash a champion like Jhin in those 1v1 side lane duels. And it's something that Sneaky's going to have to be very careful about. But Jhin and Braum is also a very powerful 2v2 kill lane.
And you expect TSM to have some level of priority in the 2-on-2. I feel like Trundle's going to be good against any of these other tank supports, and Lucian known as a lane bully. But as you get into mid-game, it's really about how well you can play League of Legends, because you're in the face of everyone else. As Sneaky plays the sniper, it's going to be a much shorter distance here for Doublelift. So this might be the last time these two coaches shake hands here this season, as we might move on to this being the final game of the summer LCS. TSM one Nexus away from taking the crown yet again. So show us your support for your favorite team, whether here in Toronto or online elsewhere. Hashtag lock in, show your swag, show me what your team spirit looks like, whether you've painted your cat black and white or blue, who knows what it is. Let us see it.
Yeah, do not paint your cat.
Do not paint your cat. Disclaimer.
I mean, I don't like cats, I'm down with that. They can be tormented as much as they want.
Oh my goodness, and there's also so much on the line here. It's the North American Championship, but as far as Worlds implications go, TSM has the difference between the first and second seed, and if C9 wins, they go as the first seed, versus if they lose, they have to win best of fives in the promotion tournament to make it through to there. So really so much on the line for C9, having to win 2 games in a row now if they want to keep that hope alive.
Exactly. If C9 drops this, they play the winner of Envy vs. Liquid, and then Immortals waiting for them as the final boss. If they lose this, CLG fans hope TSM wins. TSM would bring CLG with them to Worlds if they close this one out.
So Jensen, last time he was up against Vladimir, did swap off the Ignite. This time he's going to stick with it, having that aggressive summoner into the Vladimir. We'll see if he can make use of it.
See if he can right now. Players lining up across the map, and we've got ourselves a quick pause here. Happens.
Hope the word quick is what we end up staying with.
Yeah, indeed.
Because I really want to see the way the early lanes play out in this. One of the big reasons Taliyah was such a pick and ban priority later on in the season and still in other regions is the insane power early on in the laning phase. Level 1 shove, level 3 shove, just being able to pressure Raptors, get vision on the enemy jungler. Then when you hit level 6, first you get to go and roam down into other lanes. And that's the type of stuff that Jensen would have to do. He will really need to kind of take over this game, I feel like, for C9 to have a chance.
It's also so much about segmenting those team fights. Who in the later stages of the game can you cut off and isolate and create these advantageous 3v1s, these 5v3s, etc. in these team fights? It's a lot about how well you're going to be able to use that ultimate.
Yeah, well, looking at the in-game situation here, Jensen had left the game, then reconnected. Looks like the ref is off his screen, and he's going to verify that he's okay to go. Don't know what the issue was, but he was able to buy items walking to mid.
Had a quick game sound problem, but
okay.
Should be good to go now.
Well, it's a bunch of pirates. They all say R in all chat, and looks like we'll be ready to go here into this one.
When they type R, it means ready?
Yes.
So, as much, there's no pirates in this game. Gangplank is banned. Misfortune is out of meta.
True. True that.
Look at all those.
There are pirate-themed skins for other champions, but no Katarina picked up in this one. And yeah, what an awesome audience you guys have been here today. We are back into action. Cloud9 versus TSM, the 5th time these two organizations have met in the North American LCS finals. They've each won 2 crowns themselves in the head-to-head. And here we go, TSM up 2-1 in games. One more, and they cement it.
So much pressure on C9 here, especially Jensen. First finals going up against Bjergsen, the MVP, has not had the kind of success that he's wanted so far. On these last 2 Vel'Koz games, has been rendered pretty ineffective.
We have a unique jungle start, by the way. Svenskar not being leashed Krugs, but being leashed his red buff is atypical. There's always like the really small chance it's like a level 2 gank out of nowhere. I have a red buff, body slam flash, but...
Oh god, Jensen's actually pretty far up there. He actually might get a conversion on right now.
Running up onto this one, trying to figure out where
it's because they know the strat from Taliyah.
He's going to go pick the first camp. He has to flash away, but that means body slam is easy. And Svenskar metagames the obvious Taliyah laning phase. It's the easy chase down, nowhere to go. First blood to Bjergsen.
We talked about this in Champion Select. The Taliyah shoves the first wave and goes and steals Raptors. And it's also dangerous to succumb to patterns, and that was a pattern that from minute 1, TSM was ready to punish.
This is what research gives you. Beautiful start there for TSM. Cloud9 obviously did not see it coming. The red buff start for Gragas and looping around the brush.
And they lose the blue buff right after that, and Jensen, completely unaware that this is happening. He has to know that he was dead as soon as he flashed there, and just no chance, even able to give it over to Bjergsen, the level 1 Vladimir, auto-attacking him down.
And this could be disastrous for Jensen. Taliyah needs the early lane shove to get pressure elsewhere, but if they can get one back right here, double it.
Here comes Meteos, flash knockup, they're gonna trigger the stun as well. Is it enough damage? Yes, it is. Sneaky, crucially gets the kill.
C9 battling back, making a play on the bot side. The critical Rek'Sai coming up huge with a very good gank path.
And I can't emphasize that enough, that had to work. If they failed on their flash gank from Meteos and they were losing in the mid lane, the Taliyah pressure kind of has to snowball against this scaling of Vladimir, but it does work. They get the kill on the carry, and they're back in the game.
It's made even more important by the fact that Svenskar didn't have to use his flash to get that kill on Jensen. He can return to the mid lane. Jensen is very vulnerable for quite a few minutes still, and here is that bot lane. Once again, Meteos sneaks in from behind, full commitment, flash on Burrow, Doublelift cannot react.
And this is another path that C9 was able to take that was probably a little bit distracted for TSM because the early gank went so well. But when Svenskar goes and gets that kill early in the mid lane, that means there's no way he's there for a counter gank, that Meteos path for a quick level 3, into the jungle and the dive. Both of those are level 1 strategies, but with the way they interacted, it means both junglers actually end up getting a kill.
There's even more fun interactions there at a very high level mechanically. Even though Doublelift never flashed, I don't think he ever had the opportunity to, because as Meteos is coming in, he right-clicks on Doublelift. If at any point in time he's in range, instant unburrow. If Doublelift flashes, unburrow. If Doublelift doesn't flash, Meteos flashes, unburrow. Either way, he's dead.
Yeah, the only chance would have been to flash away early and try to hope that that gives you enough distance that Sneaky maybe doesn't flash after you and things like that.
Right.
But either way, he does have that summoner available for next time.
That could be a very big deal here. Impact trading back and forth with Hanser. Uses Hop to trigger Hyper underneath the dodge zone. And gets the damage in. Impact so far looking good in a matchup that I feel like also is supposed to favor Gnar laning phase-wise. But Hanser went for the team matchup, not necessarily the lane one.
It definitely does, and I think it gets worse over time once they have that frozen mallet. Even if you land a taunt on them, you start getting damage out, which is kind of your way to win, taunting them in mini form. You just get so much damage back on the way out because you're running out. He's just proccing his hyper over and over. It's very tough to deal with.
Yep. Yeah, there's definitely an exit cost to taking a trade at Hanser, but you know, as long as the entrance is good enough, it's still worth it in the long run. So far, it's just been very close. You're seeing the farm almost identical as that wave is right in front of his turret, and Impact takes the long walk back.
And the most surprising place to see the identical farm is in the mid lane. Jensen died at level 2, burned his flash, and we were thinking the game could have fallen to complete disarray, but now he's sitting in full health, already been able to buy and get that lost chapter in. He's been able to keep the pressure on the lane early.
He has been doing fine, but one of the critical things is once Bjergsen hits that Spirit Visage, hits those key points, but 3-peat gank at the bot lane.
Doing it again.
They can get it, the burrow down the wall. They've got a slow and a Biofrost, the tag and double. Great flash and a dodge, he gets away from it. And now it's Biofrost running out of health, burning down, but he should survive Deathfire Touch.
Fenn's coming down though.
Okay, but it's still 3 alive, and there's no Trundle. I think there's no chance that gank works. He realizes that himself, drops the Trinket Ward and goes into the jungle.
And that's actually the last time they can go for that gank because Hanser's ultimate is up now on Shen. So if they do try an aggressive thing like that, it will be turned around at least until Impact gets his teleport back up. It's another reason Svenskeren is getting so aggressive in the jungle.
You're kidding me.
Steals it away.
Actual insanity right here.
Sven has been playing so well this series for TSM. He's been so aggressive, constantly winning these little smite fights, and they add up over time. It's so frustrating, and taking away that experience, taking away that gold, chip by chip by chip, is what edged him into a 3-level lead last time.
Exactly, and if you think about the choices that Meteos made, the over-aggressive dives, like it wouldn't be unreasonable to think that he's just getting tilted off this, where he's just losing everywhere. He's not getting the kills, he's not getting the farm, he's getting nothing. Their swag, bright-colored pink ward gets killed off by Bjergsen, and yeah, tough stuff. Right now, though, 500 gold lead still does reside with TSM. They are winning by a little bit here as the top lane resets, and Impact hops out of attack range and walks away.
And I think this top lane matchup is going to be super critical because a lot of times when you're on Taliyah, you'd want to actually gank that Shen, especially if Meteos can make it up that way. Because the more they can keep Hanser out, the safer their bottom lane will be.
Dodge zone is down, Mega Gnar used, and look at the low health bars here on a Hanser.
Coming
Flash is going to come in. That's enough damage. Go to the source of the global, and he's been shut down. Global domination by C9.
And while Impact has been creating his own advantages elsewhere, this could be the game where the whole Cloud9 team starts piling up topside just so they can stop the Shen from impacting it and so they can get the most out of Taliyah and Rek'Sai.
And Hanser has no TP. Impact still has his TP, gets that kill, gets a good buy, and he can actually look to impact the rest of the map.
Shouldn't be too hard for him. You're seeing the dual lanes trade back and forth. A nice dodge and a snipe. And Biofrost realizes, okay, Smoothie's here. I can't go in for the auto attack. He kites away on this. Sneaky's Jin looking pretty good. He's got a kill, and he's right now tying Doublelift and farm as they shove this wave into the turret. This should be a convenient recall if they need it, but right now, both AD carries are actually fairly poor. There won't be any recalls for a while. But the ultimates are unlocked. We see very frequently sometimes that Jin will hit level 6, shove the wave, walk mid, and just go curtain call, burn a summoner spell.
You saw similar patterns from Ashe throughout the split, but it really does feel like C9 is very tethered to this bottom lane throughout this series. Sneaky and Smoothie done very small amounts of roaming. Especially against the Lucian, there's going to be a lot of focus on trying to win this laning phase.
He's going to land a couple of shots. Rude on a Biofrost. One more hit would stun, but it's not enough. That Jin had to reload. Doublelift goes back in and knows there's no auto text to come in. Hits Smoothie several times for only one punch in return, and looks like bullets hurt more than punches.
Jensen's looking. He is being pinged out here. We'll see if they can actually get control. Try to set something up.
All 5 can show bot lane. Meteos is on the Scuttle Crab here. He could have weavered walls in. Chose not to. They're going to be okay. Nothing really diving into the bot lane right here, but C9 does hold lane priority down there.
You have to wonder if some of those overdives, if some of the mistakes from last game are affecting their decision-making a little bit, you know? Does that get into your head as far as, hey, it didn't go well last time, should we make the play this time?
I think it's almost impossible for it not to at least be in the back of your mind. You're trying to be in the moment and only think about this game, but they know the tendencies that have happened prior. Double lift.
He's got no flash.
Coming out.
Here comes the damage, and even Biofrost could die. There's no movement. Summoners up, and 2 jukes. Crucial for Biofrost. Those could have killed him.
Such a clutch move back and forth. Such little wiggle room between the wall there, and he somehow manages to dodge those 2 shots.
Really big for TSM to not fall behind in that dual lane, to keep the Jhin down, and it's just really well played there by Biofrost, playing at home in Canada.
Quick slow on a FLICKR, but he's able to kill the pink ward out. C9 can only sweep and be sad that their kill wasn't worth as much. 2-1 so far, C9 making this game close, but no advantages really.
And I have to give credit to FLICKR for out-farming a Tiamat Rek'Sai. Like, that is the thing that almost always out-farms when you're playing this jungle matchup, but FLICKR has the level advantage. He's been out-farming Meteos for most of the series, actually, and this game is no different.
And we talk about Meteos as a player. We saw his Zac just last game. He's been known as a incredibly good hard farmer. He's one of the few people that actually sort of pioneered the play style. He always had more gold and more experience than his opponents. This series, not the case. Meteos has found himself 2 assists, though.
And in the playoffs as a whole, he has actually really kind of reinvented himself a bit and going more for a very heavy ganking style in the quarterfinals against Envy and in the semifinals as well. He was seen much more heavily ganking, and TSM make a move towards Dragon. Jensen cheating down to the side.
Yeah, no one on C9 is even close to this. Something that has been pointed out as a weakness for them. They have very poor first rate control. TSM has very good first rate control, but now the question will be, they get the global call-out that just happened. Meteos immediately moves into Raptors. C9 has been playing a little bit around the top side. If there was a time to set up a play and try and kill Hauntzer, it would be after that Drake.
Attempt to the all-in right there. Ghost use flash on the other side. Jensen won't find enough here. Just has to recall away. He was able to clear the wave first. We won't lose too much, but Bjergsen's starting to push Jensen out of lane.
Yeah, and it's going to be super difficult for Jensen to even assist in that game because of the pressure that Bjergsen has in that mid lane. Spirit Visage already completed. Jensen would love to get in the Abyssal Scepter, but it's going to be very delayed for him to hit that power spike.
And Sven is actually camping out around mid lane here. They want Jensen to walk back into a body slam flash, into the Gragas ultimate. Nobody, he's calling it off. He's saying it's a little bit too slow.
It would have been tricky. There's no ultimate on Bjergsen, but because the flash is burned, that was an opportunity. And Meteos drives by.
He should have known. Okay, he gets the smite that time around. Sven's going to jump over the wall. There was actually one tremor sense that should have let him know that Sven was around. He's going to be able to slink away. No counter jungling game. Impact actually took several turret shots. A great taunt by Hauntzer.
But look at the turret's HP. He's chipping this out quite well. It's down to around half health or less, and Impact is using his advantage to work on that turret. He's trying to get that first turret down for the team. It's at a 3rd health already.
Yeah, first turret's going to be huge in this game, and by far that turret is the most chipped down of all of them. The next gank that works would still give a first turret before this one, but if it's a steady state game, I expect that top turret to go down.
See if the steady state can happen, then C9 with
Jensen has no flash.
There's the body slam and a flash to the knockback. Doesn't quite get him far enough, but it's still going to be enough damage. A nice pickup once again. Bjergsen 2-0.
And they still would have had the assistance of Hauntzer Stand United if that didn't go well. So Jensen up a little bit too far, and it gets instantly punished by TSM.
And that's the benefit of forcing that flash out earlier from Bjergsen. He's carving out his advantages, and he's having his team help him out to collect on that.
A bit more damage on the bot side, and once again, Deadly Flourish will be anything but actually, just a miss over the shoulder. Quick dodge there. Double doing his best Neo impression. He's going to be fine. Those bullets aren't going to hit. The Meteos is coming in. Does not get seen by that pink ward, just barely. But the Wolf Spirit does. It pings, lets him know. TSM have to say, okay, as long as we have Shen, we're okay. However, Hauntzer is low on health. Him joining is not going to be easy as Impact hops away from one and there's no flash for the other.
They see Gragas. That means they might try the dive.
And here comes the attempt. There's the jump on in. A lot of knockups. And here comes the Hauntzer ulti. One more shot won't quite get the kill. And now Meteos is in danger. Can he get out? No, he didn't have the tunnel. And just like that, Hauntzer pressing R turns the whole fight around. You got to consider that C9 somehow misjudged that entire situation.
Unless they can burst out over the Shen ultimate, it's not going to be a good time because they can't match it fast enough with Haunter's teleport, but they still want to persist because they really want that first turret goal.
But Bjergsen is coming down. He has his ghost. He has his ultimate. They need to be careful about this.
Talia's nowhere to be seen just right now. I'm trying to figure out where she actually is. Actually part of the team. There we go. Hiding under Smoothie.
Hiding in plain sight.
Yeah, I was like, where is he? Not mid lane? He's not in the base. Where did he go? Oh, he's on the screen.
It's because you expect him to be flying around on his ultimate, but he's been walking to all of these locations. It's another thing of this series. C9 hasn't been able to use their global pressure spells to create global pressure. The Ash Arrow has been completely ineffective. Curtain Call the same, and no Talia ult yet, but we gotta watch this again.
And here's this dive once again, and Doublelift gets right behind Biofrost, and you have to think maybe Vito should have just gone for Biofrost there, who already had the Braum passive on him. Had he proc that, they might have been able to at least get that support kill, but the Shen ulti there turns it around, and it's the TP used from Impact, which means Haunter has global advantage. His TP is still available.
Yeah, and they really weren't that close to that kill. Now with 2-0 Bjergsen.
Yeah, you just gotta be careful.
And has ult.
Wow, a big knockback by Svenskeren into the engage. Hemoplague is on, good damage on Meteos, running out of health pretty rapidly. One more hit will do it. Does he have the reinforcements? Juking as long as he can, but that will be a kill picked up. Bjergsen gets it, 3-0 now for him. A taunt lands for Haunter, but it will be Smoothie able to get away. Slinking out with his life, but now 4-2 kills advantage for TSM. Cloud9 about to knock down top tier, I think, though.
I don't think there was any way that that was going to work for C9. They just are not even close to having enough damage to kill off Bjergsen, who has a Giant's Belt and a Spirit Visage. And this is Jensen, who's quite a bit behind. There's just no way that was going to happen. They're overforcing it. It feels like the nerves are getting the best of C9.
Yeah, it happened a little bit in that last game after the first Zac dash didn't go the right way. They just pressed a little bit too hard. And now, why are you walking into a 2-0 tanky Vladimir that you have no chance of killing? It's backfiring, and it means first turret goes to TSM.
And it's solo gold on the Doublelift Lucian. He's going to get a huge injection of gold. 650 going his way is really going to try to put him ahead of the Sneaky.
First turret had gone to C9 in the top lane, but it's still turret gold going to TSM nonetheless.
Taking it close, though, you can see 1,100 separating these teams. Not a huge margin. Either one could win this one. Biofrost taking a couple of shots, slinks away.
It feels similar to the story of last game, where a lot of the hope is just on Impact here, but Smoothie getting aggressed on.
Big culling in. Oh, nice job there. The shield comes in time. Svenskeren could not knock him back. And now another curtain call. Great pillar. Good job by Biofrost. Saves Svenskeren's life.
Classy play there, just knows exactly what to do in the situation. No need to make it a close call.
Oh, Impact going for the wraparound here. Wants to be able to run down Haunter.
Yeah, there is no turret, and he's up about 20 farm right here, level 11.
Here comes Talia.
Each. Talia doesn't quite cut off a ton, but now he's going to knock Haunter back into the little pebbles.
Impact's got the other side-ish. They have to kill him fast.
The knock up, a lot of
here.
damage coming through. Bjergsen's in. And it's not enough damage to kill off Haunter. Now the chain slow on a Vladimir. Not exactly easy for him either. Cools away, does a bit of damage, but the Javelin, not Javelin, Boomerang's gonna land. And that is a flash out from both solo laners of TSM.
Yeah, really good job by Impact, creating advantages for his team once again. This guy has been incredible in the playoffs and is really the best chance for C9 to win this game right now.
It's only down 800. C9 absolutely have the chance to turn this into a game 5. Clearing away the mid lane. The rock carpet comes down, clears the waves. He's gonna have priority.
And now it's really important that C9 can go for this Infernal Drake while Bjergsen doesn't have his ultimate on the Vladimir. It's going to be a little bit tricky because they don't necessarily have the vision control, but as they're already having to deal with the Super Flood Vladimir, being down one Infernal Drake, you can almost not imagine going down 2 and still thinking there's a high percentage chance of a win.
Now C9 do have priority on top lane. They shove the wave pretty far in. Haunter's answering now, and Impact will recall to join this fight as fast as he can. A lot of attack damage on him. Double Doran's Blade. Ninja Tabby in there as well, and we'll see what the play ends up being. Here comes Doublelift going for the chase. Sneaky's got to be careful. Juking left, right, but that's going to put him in range of a pillar. Where does he even go from here? Shadowty coming across. One more hit will do it. He's ticking down, and Doublelift, one dash will kill him. He comes in under the turret and gets that kill picked up. Bad news bears for C9's bot lane. They're down 1. Meteos also caught out. It's going from bad to worse. They're going to lose 2. TSM up now 6-2 in kills. And C9 still trying to fight, but it's a 3v5. They can't really get much. And ooh, clutch, the shield came in time. That knockback could have been worse.
We talked about the dueling prowess of Lucian in these 1v1s, and Doublelift flexing those muscles, pops the Ghost Blade, goes right in for that 1v1 kill.
And it could very well set up the Drake for TSM. It's 10 seconds until Meteos could tunnel back. It's not necessarily over yet because they did burn a lot. There's no Jhin that would be able to join this, but we know C9's been pressing for stuff in the past. They at least get a flash out of double lift.
But now it's only the chance at a miracle steal. It's very unlikely. And there it goes. A good smite by FLICKR and double Infernal Drake for TSM. With the 2,000 gold lead, they are set up for success here to make it 3 games in a row.
And here it is again, double lift, full confidence, going straight in and Sneaky. And Sneaky, he needed to run straight down. He did not see Biofrost there, gets caught by the pillar. I think had he just run in a straight line, he could have flashed away and lived.
Exactly. I feel like he was trying to move towards the rest of his team, but that also means he's running towards the rest of double lift's team because that's where everyone was, and the Trundle had a larger impact than Sneaky's teammates.
The biggest story of this game, though, 4-0 on Bjergsen. This guy is going to be an absolute monster. They are going to have so much trouble ever killing off Vladimir in the team fights. And Jensen is 0-2. He's down in CS, and the 4 kills on Bjergsen, it's going to be tough.
And the draft makes this worse as well, right? Because when they were able to beat Vladimir in the first game, it was with Cassiopeia and Ashe, who had very high sustained damage. But Talia is more of a global pressure champion that doesn't have crazy sustained damage. Like, he's not going to be able to cut through Bjergsen, especially without even the Abyssal Scepter being completed while being behind as well as not having the right champion matchup. The kills could not be more well distributed having 4 on Bjergsen because he looks like he will be unstoppable in this match.
Yeah, I don't see who's going to actually kill him off in this fight. He's not going to get low enough for a sneaky 4th shot to actually pick him off. It's difficult road for C9. They have to somehow break this game apart, and it's going to be very, very difficult. Yes, Impact still winning his matchup. That's nice for him, but the levels are tied. The farm's not completely miserable. TSM is still shown they're willing to pull the trigger pretty frequently. Stand United available. No teleport for Impact means the chance at a power play is here. So Impact is actually in battle with Haunted to prevent that Stand United from even happening. Lands more stuns, lands more CC. He's got a very low health turret waiting as his prize. So C9 could tie up some of this. Drops the aggro. A few attacks will do it. And here comes Jensen to kind of cement that even happens right there. Puts the wall down, looks for damage on Haunter, and actually, Shen's gonna have to respect this kind of damage output. Here comes Impact, and actually they get the kill in the backline. The turret's still standing, but it's gonna be dropped shortly, as now mid lane under a bit of fire. It's not gonna land off a couple of minions. That turret did actually fall, I take that back, but there we go. There's the answer kill. TSM up 1,500.
That was a really nice play by C9. Being able to play around Impact, we wanted to see that maybe a little bit more before 21 minutes, but at least getting the kill out of the Talia ultimate with Impact's lane pressure. And now it's actually turning into a bit of a race. How much can C9 defend? Because there's actually no one to defend Impact's Gnar on that other turret.
Yeah, and Impact is building a lot of damage. Normally on Gnar, he goes right in a tank after Mallet, but this time actually getting a lot of AD, getting good damage down. TSM rotates to the mid, and they're going to knock this turret down, but really, it's the same timing that Impact has as bot lane tier 2 is going to fall, worth 800 gold to the 750 of the outer, and this game is still only 1,300 apart.
And this is actually very similar to the gold distribution we saw in the prior game, where Impact is getting a lot of solo turret gold, and TSM is distributing it more around the rest of the team. It's all going to come down to whether or not Impact gets sucked into team fights before he can build tank stats, because he has the split push items, but he needs tank stats in order to team fight.
And one thing going for Jensen, although he cannot compete with Bjergsen straight up at all, he can roam away from Bjergsen. He can avoid Bjergsen and try to use that ultimate, the Weaver's Wall, to join up with Impact and really punish Haunter in this already advantageous matchup.
Right, it's a race of how many of these side advantages C9 can get before TSM continues to snowball Drakes and Barons together, because those things are on respawn timers but can't run away, and C9 are kind of showing they are unwilling or unable to win that 5-on-5. Vladimir, one of the kings of team fighting. A 4-0 Vladimir, absolutely the emperor.
Yeah, and he's building so many resistances, so much tanky stats from Bjergsen. He's going for the Zonias. He already has a Spirit Visage, tons of HP from Rylai's, and it's just so hard to bring this guy down.
The difference in style is going to be the really big thing to watch for, is who can make their style of game work better. 2 minutes in the Cloud Drake, not a bad one from TSM. Make the rotations happen. Maybe it lets Haunter run away from some of these Impact and Jensen roams as time goes on.
Yeah, and TSM has excelled when they can force the enemy team into making decisions that they're not ready to make. With 2 Infernal Drakes and the super strong Vladimir, the way they can pull Cloud9 towards them is to start controlling vision around Baron and ultimately make them check things unsafely. Most of TSM's advantages this game have also come around picking C9 off before the fight. And that's where C9 has to be so careful because they don't necessarily have the tools to prevent this bait from working.
They certainly have to be careful. They have picked up double blue trinket to help circumvent that a little bit, but there's a fight breaking out.
Meteos begins. Meteos, Guardian Angel in the front line, taking out of health, and he's going to pop the GA. Svenskeren a bit low, but not low enough. Staying alive, flashes that with his life, and Meteos still at the chase, and one more pillar, one more shot. Doublelift takes him down. Now into the back line, Hanser dodging what he can, but Impact is certainly scary. Flash for the chase, a snipe from Sneaky, and now Bjergsen getting chain CC'd. The pool is on cooldown. A few more hits will do it. The house comes down, and a shutdown is in.
Doublelift is super low.
Very, very low. One more clock tower goes in. The Summoner Heal keeps him alive. Biofrost runs away, but C9 lost 3. TSM only lost 2.
Game just heated up a little bit right there. C9 actually, even though Meteos got caught, had a pretty good collapse on that team fight and impacted a ton of work, as well as getting Doublelift low.
He gets a shutdown gold there too. It's going to be even more gold in the pocket of Impact, but Bjergsen is so big in these fights, and it took so many C9 members to catch him down, and here is Meteos moving forward. He gets caught, ulted into the team.
Yeah, and it's always Meteos who has to be the first one to check. Smoothie right behind him, and essentially the people who were checking were the first ones to die. It's more surprising that Sneaky was actually able to stay alive for a lot of that fight because that's where Bjergsen, I think, will have more focus in future team fights is getting on him because that curtain call did some insane damage.
Just look how long it takes him to take down Bjergsen. He doesn't even have his pool available. This is both the soul laners wailing on that guy for so long, and Doublelift has the heal available.
Look at this angle.
Just barely doesn't hit him.
And he even got out of range of the boulder toss, exactly. Move speed may have helped a little.
For some reason, Nars boulders do pass through walls, but Doublelift respects it and heals to walk away.
Goes them over the wall, chat.
Yeah,
oh my
the toss. Just, there's a couple of trees, no big deal. But a tight one. Drake spawns, and still the 1,200 gold lead, plus the double Infernal Drake for combat stats. I mean, TSM are winning by more than the gold lead itself does suggest. Now they've got the out-of-combat movement speed, and that's going to help as well. Impact wearing a red buff, has to wait for that timeout on the Hanser, but it means he can do even more damage to these turrets. See, chasing Bjergsen out of his own lane. I mean, this is 1v2 Impact, and he's in control of it.
Yeah, his gold is actually equal to Bjergsen's gold. 3-0-1 versus 5-1-2. It's very close. Actually, 200 gold ahead. Where's Talia going?
For Doublelift.
Okay, where this knife's going to go, looking right now at Svenskeren taking all the damage, but it will mean he's hurt. Doublelift at close to full health is going to be fine. Ooh, good explosive cast, but forcing the flash into Jensen. Otherwise, everyone remains standing.
That was a 4v3 that C9 was trying to force on a TSM, and it's actually Jensen that has to flash back defensively. They need to be better about creating opportunity if they're going to try to go for those 4v3 things, because even though Impact was hero moding against 2 people, they actually lose the 4v3 as far as summoner spell trades go.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that did have to do with the fact that they actually couldn't section off Doublelift. They only got the tanks in there. Every bullet from that Jhin ulti is hitting the Rando and Svenskeren, who is so tanky this game, just picks up his GA.
So it's going to be hard to kill him off. Meteos just sitting on the team at itself. He knows he's a bit behind and has to go tank stats. And unfortunate for Meteos, he's actually having a very rough series here. Everything post-game 1, he's had a lot in the deaths column and not a lot to show for it in kills and assists. But another negative game for the C9 jungler.
Yeah, and I think it's a combination of several factors. He's made a few over-aggressive mistakes, but also TSM's vision control has been very strong, and they're very focused around punishing people who are trying to achieve vision. More often than not, it's Meteos who's having to be front and center in those pushes, and he's getting picked off a lot.
It's him as well on the rec side, having to check forward with the Prey Seekers, look for the Baron, and he's the one who has to give up his life in a lot of these situations. But one thing at least going for them is still that top lane, although Impact does not have the experience advantage that he did last game. He has a very, very big gold advantage still, and Meteos is even on levels with Svenskeren, so although he is 0-4, he has kept relevant in that way. It's not like the Zac game where he fell behind in kills and then fell massively behind in farm.
So we'll see what's next up for this one. I'm going to keep saying it, but it's important. Only 1,100, the gold. It is staying very, very close. I know it looks and feels like TSM are winning, and to be honest, they are, but it is certainly still close. This is a tight game. C9 can find the victories. A lot of them has to be through Impact, and he's pushing towards bot lane inhibitor turret right now.
And it may be close now, but one more big fight for TSM could mean Baron for them, and they're looking to start it up. Double pink wards there. Vision has been denied.
Smoothie sees it. They could teleport on an impact, but he's in range of getting caught by Haunter. TSM's looking to peel away and at least force something.
Right now they force Smoothie's flash to get away from the pillar. Nice job by Biofrost forcing that one out. Trades his own ultimate in to help soften the tank, and nothing is gained. Impact was able to save his teleport as well. He's still in the one-on-one on this bottom side of the map, trying to whittle down to this turret and do more damage to Haunter.
Yeah, they're just trying to buy time for Impact. That inhibitor turret is still very healthy. C9
Nice
goes
by
to
C9.
mid lane, but TSM is on. Oh no, they're not.
They're baiting the Baron.
it.
They say,
Wow.
yeah, you're going to finish turret, but you have to run at us for Baron right now.
They could have started, but they're also not necessarily waiting to cut them off too quickly. It's
And
a
now Meteos
pretty
knows.
safe check for Meteos.
And the waivers wall as well. Yeah, C9 have a lot of tools to make sure they know what's going on. At this point, they can kind of see some of what's happening with TSM, but
might
now
Be careful though. C9's kind of on the wrong side of the map here.
they need some teleport wards. Pillar's going to land on Meteos. He actually flashed away, didn't use his tunnel. It might have been on cooldown at this time. So
Yeah, it
C9
was on
losing some
cooldown.
summoners, but C9 able to pick off the turret, which means the gold is now even. It's only the Drake buffs to show that TSM are doing well, and maybe some compositional work with a very, very big Vladimir.
16% attack damage and ability power. Interestingly enough, there's not a huge amount of attack damage and ability power being built by TSM. Vladimir doesn't have a huge amount of AP. The build from Doublelift doesn't have a giant amount of AD either, but the Baron baits will be continuing, and this time Smoothie has to check.
But he had a friend to jump to and not enough CC to stop him out. A quick root. Bjergsen turns away.
Thing they have to be so careful about though is Svenskeren. He can actually force these fights with the flash, with the ultimate, and it's going to be up to Smoothie to block that ulti so he doesn't get knocked into the team.
And here comes Doublelift. He's on the chase. Nice play by Impact. Does the Mega Gnar shove, kills the ward, runs fast as he can, and it's going to be okay. The boomerang slow is it.
Trundle.
Okay, hops out the scuttle.
Oh.
Pretty fortunate there. The wildlife even helping
C9
C9.
Scuttle Crab right there.
C9 Scuttle Crab.
All planned.
And
It's
it's-
C9.
Risky play, didn't mean much. Of course, they had to run through the other Scuttle Crab, the TSM Scuttle Crab, that top one, as they pick it off.
Yeah, I think C9 was actually just clearing out vision there, and Sven aggroed the Baron. So it looked like they were starting it, but actually just intending to clear out those pink wards, which they did accomplish. Just a prank.
Yep, I got misled. My bad. Thank you, Azale, for correcting me on that one. It's only an accident that the Baron took damage there. So C9 resetting onto this one, getting what recalls they can, looking at everyone's current gold. Everyone on both teams has really bought recently. They're only at 3-digit gold right now. That's pretty standard here. TSM hoping to fight back for the vision control right now. Baron Dark for TSM.
And even though this game is slowed down, we still have to think about the difficulties that C9 is going to have against Bjergsen's 5-kill Vladimir in team fights. I like what C9 is doing because it seems like they're more safely able to prolong the game in this game 4 than they have in prior games. And the more they can get these maneuvers around Baron, like the more times TSM tries to get Baron without it going wrong for C9, the higher C9's chances are of winning.
What do you think about this Lord Dominic's pickup here for Sneaky for going that healing debuff?
I mean, so I think Mortal Reminder isn't necessary because Jensen's got Merlinomicon, but he's against these two, both high health and high armor frontline tanks that gets the right option for him here.
Bit of a base race here.
Yeah,
C9 has to turn back.
TSM is ahead on this one, and Haunter can actually disrupt a lot. So
TSM's much faster. This could be an end that C9 did not see coming. Already, the inhibitor is open, and TSM are going for broke here. They can track Cloud9's progress. They know they took the inhib safely. They're able to walk away clean, and that is a huge, huge difference in gains.
And it's another one of those prediction calls that plays on people's habits and tendencies. C9 wanted to go mid to bait Baron, and that puts them even further away from their own inhibitor.
Impact's just trying to bully down this turret.
Right
This
now,
game
it's
is
a 2-on-2.
getting crazy.
Yeah, Biofrost getting hit, dodges the snipe. Deadly Flourish not going to land there from Sneaky.
He's been so good about those little side steps,
Yeah.
constantly dodging out those Jin CCs.
And this is a rookie. This is, if we're talking about nerves getting to players, Biofrost seems the least affected of all players in his rookie split.
And he said, I hope I don't tilt in the finals. Guess what? He's not. TSM goes for Baron.
And with pretty perfect play from Biofrost, it's there.
Bjergsen on the side.
Tanking Baron Nashor.
They're waiting
puts up
for the
shield.
collapse.
They hit Biofrost.
They got
him. That's one kill so far. Bjergsen's still waiting for someone to jump in a little bit too far, but now they see where he's there. The curtain call comes in, and the bot lane, a turret fell down somewhere. I think for bot lane.
Mid-turret.
Went down. Mid-tier 2 went down to minion waves. Yeah, bot's still alive for now.
And now you wonder if C9 is going to try and section these guys off. They're a supportless team. They do have the
Nar
numbers
has TP.
advantage.
He's
And
coming
Weaver's
in.
wall's still up. They can completely cut them off. Here comes the play. Meteos' Guardian Angel finds the front line. The knockback comes in. Doublelift gets the ulti in. Here comes the battle. Smoothie has to kite back. Shield is on. Sven's going to lose his Guardian Angel as well. And here comes the revive from Meteos. He's going to go down. Bjergsen down to half. Here comes the battle back as Sven's going to lose his life. Both junglers now dead. 4v3, but Smoothie's injured. They've got to be careful. Doublelift can clean it up. Here comes the damage shot, but Smoothie's going to go down. Hanser staying alive. There's the Megadar. It's up to Impact. And Impact is the hero. Down to Bjergsen. And he's going to use the Zonias. Now what's left for him? Jensen gets him. It's an ace for Cloud9.
Impact is a god in this series and this game. He is trying to solo carry C9 to game 5.
Who else but Impact with the incredible Gnar ultimate, turning around a sure loss in that fight.
Impact wanted to make it back to Worlds and proving a 4-0-4. Loss is not found here. And watch that fight again.
What's crazy about this is he had to teleport into the Baron pit because there were not close wards. This fight was so crazy. Multiple Guardian Angels, but just watch the patience in this fight. Bjergsen going away at low health, healing up so much. Doublelift on the outside. They're actually trying to go for Baron on the other side. They're going to get it. We can stay on this replay, I think, because we need to see.
Sven is moving actually down for the Baron.
Sven might be going it. There's too much happening right now. Beautiful Gnar ult. Let's get back to live.
Gonna watch the live one in the corner. Here comes the Kraken's attempt to steal, and it's gonna go over. Swoop. Meteos gets redemption. He lands the smite. He had
Impact once more.
So many buffs this game. So many camps at Svenskeren. And when it mattered most in game 4, Meteos lands the smite. They get the last hit there. And Cloud9 are in the driver's seat to tie up the series.
And that's where keeping the experience matters so much. If you're 3 levels down at that point, maybe this fight goes the other way. But Meteos has stayed relevant. TSM, though, trying to get something back. They want the dragon.
Looking for this Ocean Drake, but Meteos has smite. Oh, he's a bit late on the play. He's a bit late on the play, can't get it in time, and TSM, they get their 4th consecutive Drake buff this game. C9 are wearing Baron for a few minutes. They can make some heavy strides. Keep in mind, bot lane inhibitor turret has like 10% HP.
Yeah, and they also need to let their inhibitor respawn if you're C9. It's a bit of a natural reset for the game right now. TSM picked up their 4th Drake. C9 has Baron, but it's from the back foot. We know how powerful Impact is in teamfights, and we know they can win teamfights. It just might not be favored against the Vladimir. C9 need to continue to play clean and build on the momentum from that insane ace.
One thing to remember, though, Shen really struggles to actually wave clear at this point in the game, and against that Baron buff minions and the Gnar can potentially bully him in and force down one of these inhibitor turrets. Impact is up over 3,000 gold on Hanser right now, and he can look to try to make some big advantages happen in the side lanes.
Lots of money on several players as well. Recall's going to be coming in shortly, but it gets weird, the timing. This is the kind of state of the game where 200 gold means I can finish an IE or a set on BF sword because the slots are full up. Sometimes these breakpoints mean massive things that you don't see on the gold lead, but show up in that bottom scoreboard. Every once in a while, it means a whole lot. Sneaky right now, playing the wave clear duties. You can see Lord Dominic is in, Static Shiv as well. I think actually, I haven't done the math I meant to after the 3rd place series, but basically, you have so much raw attack damage from the flat armor pen, from going Yomus and going for the next armor pen item afterwards, that you start just wanting the multipliers that attack speed and crit actually give you on Jhin. And I know several of these high tier teams, they have analysts that just do build math for them. Runes, masteries, items, and these guys have told them, you should go for a Zeal item 3rd, 4th.
It's interesting to see the Shiv over the Rapid Fire, which is the traditional kind of Zeal item there for Jhin. People really prioritize getting that long-range 4th shot off, and can be massive at times, but C9 grouped up here, feeling strong, feeling like they can take a 5v5 at this point in the game.
1 minute left on Baron.
Absolutely, and that'll be the question of whether or not Impact can get the split push up with the Baron at this juncture, because the danger for C9 is that TSM actually try and pull off an initiation. Svenskeren's got his flash up, and if they can catch them in a fight where Impact would be late to arrive, they could take control of this game back. But as of now, it's a split push that they're going to have trouble answering.
Yeah, Bjergsen actually hanging around the mid lane there too. Was looking to see if Jensen would move too far up.
Gonna get it.
Wow.
5,000 gold lead now for Cloud9. Baron buff still on for one next minion wave. And this gold lead has to kind of battle against what Infernal Drakes will give you, but C9 feels like they've got the advantage for sure.
They do, but gold lead or not, TSM has an incredible team fight. And we know Bjergsen can take these over, but they're trying to section them off.
Looking for the play. Svenskeren can't join yet. Double gets hit once. Jukes around Biofrost. Gonna take the last one, but still losing a fair bit of HP. That will be
turret.
another turret picked up. Baron buff is now timed out though. So
Here comes
TSM
Sven.
might want to commit. Here comes the play. Bjerg in the back line. A great ulti by Smoothie to separate them. And
He got
Impact
the
out the
ulti.
view. He's got a stun, but he doesn't quite catch double lift. That man's okay on the Lucian. Carpet comes out. Bit of a knockback. They've got the 2 tanks here, and Mega Nara's over. So now Impact's more DPS champion.
In goes Bjergsen.
They've gotten away. Bjergsen can't get quite enough though. And they trade back and forth. Hemo plague ends. C9 still alive, but they've got to limp out of this one. Root's going to land on Biofrost. Once more, the engage and an impact.
Monster's behind them!
Low. Looking for the play. Up Taunt coming across. Puts the dodge zone in as well. Smoothie running out of HP. He's nearly dead. And Bjergsen gets one. The stun's not going to land. He popped the Zonius. C9 running out of health. They've got to run away from this one. Impact is nearly dead. Gets the boulder toss, and they get out only losing one.
They don't have enough damage to deal with Bjergsen. They have to back off. Such an intense fight there in the top lane. A matter of inches on either side. The game could have been decided.
Ooh, that was a heavyweight bout right there. They
No
were
kidding.
just swinging for so long. Tanks all over the place in this game, and defensive builds give you fights like these.
And Bjergsen coming in here with the Shen ultimate, wants to get aggressive, pocketing that goes. Such a good disengage ulti there from Smoothie.
And when Impact comes in, if he could have just barely angled the Gnar ultimate a little bit more to the right, he may have stunned double lift, but they didn't even have the burst to follow up with that if it does land, because the fight is just so incredibly long, and it's fights like these where Vladimir is actually incredibly happy, and it's surprising that TSM couldn't win for more of this, because C9 is actually playing this quite well. Impact with the GA, keeping them at bay. Jensen actually ran out of mana throughout this fight, which is what ultimately meant C9 had to run back. Sneaky's low on mana as well, and they actually just ran out of resources in the duration of this brawl.
Such a long fight, really crazy one there, but Elder gonna be on the table soon.
For the play again, one
Double
time
get
on a
tagged.
Impact on the front line. Here comes Smoothie, going for the knockup. They might catch in. Yes, they do. Biofrost is down. Smoothie's gonna trade his life as well, though. 4 versus 4, no supports alive. No Guardian Angel for Meteos, whereas TSM still have 2.
The Weaver's Wall!
Weaver's Wall catches off a couple. Now can they have the follow-up damage? A couple of stuns come in. They've got Bjergsen, and they shut him down with a 1600 damage crit.
Can they get
Lift is
double?
low. Meteos, another knockup, trades his life, but it does.
Double lift!
Gets the GA. Double
killing
lift.
them all!
Kills
He got
everybody. They've got 3. Impact goes down. An ace for TSM.
Double lift turns around the fight, staying alive, so much patience, bides his time, and he takes over.
And these death timers are massive. The wave they have in the bottom side might be able to end the series.
So here they go. They've got 4 members alive. Biofrost just respawns. Here comes the play. Teleport is in. Haunter's joining them as 3 people. 30 seconds of the respawn timers. That might only be the inhibitor. The mini wave coming in just now. This will be tier 2, and it looks like TSM will flinch and say, that's okay. We'll tie up the gold and back out.
What a game, and what a fight that was from Jensen cutting off the team with his Weaver's Wall on Talia, but to double it, withstanding the harassment throughout the entire fight, and understanding his ranges on the Lucian at the back end of that fight is not only going to give them their gold back, but it's also going to secure them a quadruple elemental Drake Elder.
For the next 2 minutes, TSM cannot be trifled with.
And with Baron on the
Now.
table, that is a big deal. If Baron was off the map, you could say, okay, no problem, sit back, wave clear. That's not really an option for C9 if they want to contest this Baron.
And if I'm trying to shot call for C9 right now, I don't think you can actually even go close to Baron. This Elemental Drake cannot be messed with. They're going to get the wards off and hope for a pick, but if they ever see a lot of TSM people together, I think they have to run away.
I agree, especially when you can take into consideration Vladimir, who can just dive backline, continuously apply this AoE true damage burn that's going to do so much to your team.
Question is, does C9 properly respect that? They have not been looking at this bot lane. Keep in mind, Impact's teleport is up in 8 seconds. He can try to split the team up and wait out the 2 minutes. This timer, it's already 45 seconds past. There's only 1:15 left for TSM to use this buff as they land little bits of poke, get that true damage burn across. C9 hoping they can waste enough time, but now TSM got priority in mid. They roam back over towards this Baron pit, looking at the play one more time. It's in vision of wards, but who
They
cares?
want to force it.
C9 gonna have a hell of a time fighting him. curtain call pops, and they're gonna go for this play. Weaver's wall
They're
puts him off
actually
the
fighting.
pit, and there's a knockback. They've got impact, but he's Mega Gnar, and he can't do it in time. The first kill comes in for TSM, and this could be the championship team fight. Here they go, a double already for Bjergsen into the back line. They're killing everybody. C9 only have 2 members remaining. Make that one. It's only Jensen. There's no chance left.
And TSM find another fight at Baron. C9 did not want to give up that Baron, and TSM was so strong with the Elder Drake, they're going to take that fight all the way to the championship.
They didn't give up the Baron, but they're going to give up the championship as the Nexus is surely going to fall.
And here we go, the ceremonial taking of the Nexus turrets. Nothing to stand in their way as TSM cement themselves as the most dominant organization in North American League of Legends and win their 4th North American Championship.
An incredible moment for these guys. You can see just how much it means to them. Disappointment last year in Vegas, and now finally victory is theirs.
And the 4th game was the closest of all of them. They really had to fight for that last game. If you're looking at Cloud9 right now, you can see the disappointment because they know they had some chances in that 4th game to force a Game 5. And now if they want to go to Worlds, they have to make it through the regional qualifier.
Yeah, now it's either C9 or Immortals. Maybe it's like maybe it's Envy, but those are the 2 you look at. And yes, TSM can rightly hoist that trophy as the top dogs of North America. Rookie Biofrost in his hometown in his first split says, I'm the best.
It's got to feel amazing for Biofrost, and it might even feel better for the other 4 players on TSM who were 1 team fight away of hoisting that trophy in the spring, but now it's theirs in 4 games.
This is a team people are talking about. This is the best ever North American team we have seen. Punch their ticket to Worlds, 1st seed. They will get their chance to prove just how good they are against the world's best.
Doublelift, who you could see front and center right there, also becomes the first player to win North America on 2 different teams. Biggest news of the offseason was Doublelift going from CLG to TSM. He couldn't take down CLG in the spring. He did in the summer, and he also wins the championship.
And now you see the smiles, the support staff, the men behind the camera for TSM. Of course, yes, the heartbreak for Cloud9. They know this was a winnable series, but it was a team effort. C9 must regroup.
I don't know if I have ever seen Jensen more distraught than in this moment. And I can imagine he is just replaying those team fights over and over and over again. But he played a hell of a series.
He did.
And the crowd respecting that, giving Jensen a tremendous round of applause there, but it was a series of inches, and sometimes it's the smallest plays that decide these games.
And it was, and C9, as we said, must regroup. Their season is not over. They've come back from worse. Last year, they were the 7th place team. They tie-broke to took 7th place, and then went all through the regional qualifier, reverse swept 2 of those series, and then made it to Worlds anyway. Sadly, they got reverse swept in the group stage the other way around at Worlds, but now they come in as a team we know is strong, a team that has basically beaten everyone they're about to come up against in the regional qualifier. They wait for Liquid versus Envy. Okay, that's probably not too hard. Then they take on Immortals again, assuming they win, who they just beat last week. And you figure Cloud9's got to come into this feeling good.
They certainly have a chance to beat Immortals, but that was not an easy series by any means, and it took a Herculean effort from Impact, who played out of his mind in that series, and now, you know, it's Immortals who win 3rd place. They're rejuvenated. They know they have another shot at these guys for redemption.
Yeah, and we actually know a lot more about the way the world champion is going to look now. TSM is the #1 seed, CLG is the #2 seed, and we know how competitive these playoffs were. The 5-game series we saw yesterday, the 4 nearly 5-game series we just saw here in the finals. It's going to be incredibly exciting, and TSM themselves have to be extremely excited about the team they put together and the journey they're about to take going towards the World Championship.
It's going to be a whole bunch of fun to watch all the League of Legends as it unfolds throughout the rest of the year, but now we're going to hear from the whole team in just a moment. First, though, going to check in with Zyrene for his initial reactions from the North American All-LCS kill leader, Doublelift.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. North America, your 2016 Summer Split Champions, TSM! Now, Doublelift, it's been a year since you've been able to put your hands on that trophy. How does it feel to finally be able to hoist it up once again?
Oh man, when I still stand by this one. The first time I won in Season 5 Madison Square Garden was like probably the best day of my life. And then losing narrowly in the finals last split, I just, I think this was just like redemption for us, and for me.
And everybody cheering you here. It's been an absolutely incredible atmosphere in the Air Canada Centre here in Toronto. What has it been like playing in front of this crowd and winning a championship here?
Dude, this crowd is nuts. Like, I've not made so many mistakes on stage. Like, I'm not gonna blame the crowd, but like, you guys are so hypey, man. Like, I canceled my gym.
And my final question for you, Doublelift. You guys already punched a ticket to Worlds, but you just stamped it. First seed for North America. You will be representing us at the World Championship in that Pool A. How far does this TSM go?
I could not have been prouder of my teammates. Like, everyone stepped up to the plate when it really mattered. Like, I'm super proud to be able to represent NA. I'm really happy that I was able to play in Canada, which was like, in a long time coming to have an esports event. And I'm just gonna do you guys proud at Worlds.
Well, congratulations, Doublelift, once again. Your 2016 Summer Split Champions, TSM. And we're gonna have an interview with the rest of the team in just a few minutes, but to close out the series, we're gonna throw it back to the casters.
Thank you very much, Irene. Excellent interview on the day for you. But now we talk about TSM and how well they played. And, you know, I think every single person pitched in very heavily at certain moments. You had some consistent performers. You had some outstanding performers. There's a player that honestly, I think, deserves player of the game here for consistently playing amazingly, and that is our jungler, Svenskeren.
Yeah, player of the series for Svenskeren. It's a very hard decision that we made here, but we feel like he gave so many advantages to TSM throughout this entire series that it's well-deserved. The playoff buff for Svenskeren, so to speak, and he made it work.
He played fearlessly the entire time, always getting the edge over Meteos in these games, getting aggressive, taking away his camps, getting vision for the team, and making plays when it mattered.
Yeah, honestly, just like crushing it. It made Meteos look completely outclassed. His score lines by comparison, meteorically better here. You know, Sven played just incredible League of Legends. He got his lanes ahead. He found those ganks that tilt the matchups a lot of the time. And, you know, in a match where you were seeing TSM get solo killed or getting killed without any jungle intervention, Svenskeren comes in the next few games and goes, nah, not going to happen on my watch, pops people up, makes them all happen. And I think just did so much work.
Yeah, you think about the way some of these games turned around, like game 2, very early on, Svenskeren gets a kill for
Bjergsen on Jensen in the mid lane.
Yeah, and then the game 4 mind game, when they start at red buff so they can punish Jensen when he's going for Raptors, was such a tone setter in what turned out to be an incredibly close game, but was the clincher for the championship.
Yeah, you imagine if Vlad didn't start out 2-0, 4-0, this game looks very, very different, but TSM had all the Drakes and the Elder afterwards because of all the early pressure. Thanks, Svenskeren, for making that one happen. So a beautiful series for TSM, and now for another perspective on that series, let's head back into Pastry Time, who's standing by with Cloud9 support.
Hey guys, I'm here with Smoothie of Cloud9. First of all, thank you so much for joining me after obviously a tough loss there for you guys. An incredibly competitive series, despite the scoreline. What happened?
I don't know. We basically just underestimated some champions. We didn't play against a lot of like Cassiopeia, for example, and I don't know, Bjergsen just played really well. And TSM in general played really well this series.
Well, I have to say, you guys have had an incredible season as well, and you, of course, being a new player into the LCS, you've had an amazing season to start things off with Cloud9. What have you thought of your play throughout the season? Because from what we can see, it's been incredible.
Well, thanks for you to say that, but I don't know. It's always just a journey, like who improves most, and like this time I just won, I guess. And I don't know. It's been a long journey, and my team has taught me so much. Like before I joined C9, I had no direction. I didn't really know like how to play the game or anything. But I don't know. It's just been pretty awesome being on C9, and I wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
Like you said, that journey will be a little longer now for Cloud9. You'll have to play in that gauntlet. Worlds obviously will be a dream, I'm sure, for you, and the rest of your team would love to get back there. For those who have been there before, do you think you can do it? Can you pull through the gauntlet and be the last North American team to represent at Worlds?
Yeah, I think C9, we're really strong, and we're going to keep improving for the gauntlet, and we're going to make it to Worlds. I guarantee it.
Well, before we go, we've heard the crowd already. We know it's your home country here in Canada. How has it been to play in front of your fans, and do you have anything to say to them? Because they have a lot to say to you.
Being in Canada is a great honor. I haven't been back to Canada in like a year since I started playing competitive, so it just feels really, really good to be back here, and I miss everything about it.
Well, Smoothie, thank you so much again for joining me. It's been great to hear from you. But we are going to look to close out the day. Let's go back to Riv and the rest of TSM.
Thank you very much, Pastry, and it is a very huge pleasure to be joined by your 2016 North American LCS champions, TSM. Gentlemen, there's a lot to go over. I do want to be able to talk to each and every one of you. Sven Skaren, I want to start with you first, coming out as player of the series. There was a lot of criticism back in the spring split, and you have largely silenced a lot of that coming into the summer. What was it that switched for you?
I think it's just mainly that we got a lot of team synergy more after the first split, and I think my teammates trusted me a lot more after I did well in last playoffs. So coming into this split was a lot easier, like just adapting and like playing well as a team because I knew all my teammates trust me.
And he's hitting the gym, dude. Swole scared. Let's go.
The lucky Doublelift came in with that. I was going to ask you to pop and lock. Third, for going to you, Bjergsen, this is your third MVP award, and I wanted to come to you next because Sven and you in the mid lane have a lot going for each other. You keep each other in check, and also this was the way you got into Jensen's head throughout the entire game. Your first MVP award came 3 years ago. What does it actually mean to you now to get this again, 6 splits later?
I mean, obviously it means a lot because I had to go from the first time I got MVP, it was just individual play, mechanics, laning, getting a lot of kills, but now the game has translated into being much more strategic. So for me to be MVP, it means that I have to be smart and I have to make the right decisions. And that's kind of where I try to improve every single day. And
how do you, I have to ask, how do you keep that level of play throughout this entirety of the splits?
I think it's just always being critical of yourself, always thinking that, maybe you had a really good game, but there's still a bunch of things you can do better. You can watch a lot of your replays. Every single day you have to push yourself to improve, and that's the way you're going to keep improving, obviously.
And actually, there's somebody I want to point out, Weldon, who has a lot of improvement that has come to this team. You have done so much from what we've heard. How does it impact the team from your point of view coming in, Bjergsen and Doublelift, 1 and 2 in the votes? Kind of how do you separate something like that when you come to a finals when you still need everybody to work together?
Yeah, I think it's really tough. I think it has a lot to do with clutch potential, being able to pull it out in the game, when it's really needed, and then leadership behind the scenes. But I think that we definitely had a really tough vote this split, and on our team, we kind of, switched back and forth between the votes ourselves. So we also were indecisive.
Well, it came down, obviously, Bjergsen coming out very strong with it, but Doublelift, obviously your play has gotten so much better. A lot of it over the years was talk, and now you've silenced that talk and put the play on the Rift. Now the first one to win 2 North American LCS championships on 2 different teams. How does that compare? What does it mean for you from then to now?
Well, first, I just want to point out how it's so funny that now that we won, TLG goes to Worlds, so it's 2 years in a row. TLG relies on me to carry them to Worlds. It's ridiculous.
Whoa.
And the other thing is...
spicy.
I don't know, joining TSM, it was a fresh start. On CLG, there was a lot of baggage, and I managed to wade through it, but it's a totally new experience. I was able to sort of reinvent myself, and all my teammates are super supportive. Whenever I do something stupid, they call me out on it, and I just really respect that everyone here is super hardworking, and we're all good friends too.
Great friend, great friends, hardworking. That brings me to Biofrost. Very hardworking, coming out of the Challenger Series, now getting to play in that hometown game. I have to ask you, Biofrost, in your rookie split, rookie of the split, a championship victory and now a chance at Worlds. What does that mean to you?
It just feels surreal. I never would have thought I would be at this point like 3 months ago. So it's definitely really nice, and the crowd's super amazing. They're very supportive, and it just feels really great.
I remember when we did the Rookie of the Split interview, you told me you were very surprised to be even offered a spot on TSM, so I can't imagine what you guys are going through now with this victory here and that rookie bottom lane. Haunter, I want to come to you next. The top lane has been a place where TSM has absorbed so much aggression over the split. It has been absolutely crazy, and just last season yourself, you faced the expansion tournament, trying to get in, making sure everything was going to be right for you, and you've always stated that you want to be the best top laner in NA. Being voted that all-pro top laner, do you feel like you've actually achieved that for yourself now?
I think there's like a debate between like all the three like best tops of the top 3 teams, but I definitely think I'm up there, and we'll just have to like prove myself at Worlds and see how I do there.
Absolutely great mentality. Always leaving that space open that there's somebody better than you, and you have to keep achieving to be the greatest. Finally, coming to Parth, a fantastic split all along, one of the most dominant we've seen from Team Solo Mid. We spoke a little bit about, coach of the split and how that is really given to everybody on the team, you felt. What does it mean for you, though? What has it like been watching these players grow? You have been one of the longest standing coaches now on TSM. There's been a lot of in and out. What does it mean to you watch these players grow? And beyond this win, what are you most proud about?
I just remember last year when we lost at MSG, and then we lost again at Worlds and MSI. It was just super depressing. And I think one of the biggest reasons why I stayed with TSM, even after last year, was because of Bjergsen and how hard he works. And then this year, we just got to see a bunch of players who also share the same goal and are also equally as hardworking. So it was just a pleasure to work with all of them. And yeah, it's been awesome.
Well, it's been awesome for the fans. Obviously, an awesome record and awesome going to Worlds as your first seed. Ladies and gentlemen, your 4-time NALCS champions and first seed going to Worlds, TSM. Now for more on closing thoughts, we're going to head it over to Freak, Jat, and Azale.
Thank you very much, Riv. And, well, this is the last time we get to talk here in front of this amazing audience here in Toronto. What else do you guys want to say about this incredible match?
It's been really great. And I think about Team Solomon's journey from losing the finals in Madison Square Garden and seeing the crowd chant CLG, the name of their biggest rivals, to coming here to Toronto for a super hype crowd to then chant TSM has got to feel great for them. And just the journey that Bjergsen and Parth and those guys have gone on is really impressive.
I think just looking at the split as a whole, you can't say that any team deserved it more than TSM, and they proved that here today. One of the most amazing regular seasons in the summer split, and then coming through in playoffs, and they have high hopes going to Worlds.
I agree. They've only lost one match all through the regular season, or the regular split, I should say, and only one game throughout the playoffs. A 6-1 run, certainly dominant is one of the best words to use to describe TSM. You heard Doublelift say, I'm going to do you guys proud. I'm playing for North America. We've worked so hard. I love all of my teammates. We're all good friends. We've all got this goal. And now the next stop for TSM is representing North America, a region that's gotten smashed so often at Worlds. We're the butt of so many jokes, but now picking up where CLG left off at MSI, coincidentally bringing them along to World and saying, let's go, let's make this one count.
Every year there's refreshed hope. Hope springs eternal for North America. TSM does actually look very good. And as long as they can maintain a fast style of play like they got back to towards games 3 and 4 of this series, I think they have a chance to make some noise.
And I think that with their performance here today, that gives them that confidence to continue playing aggressively. And you saw even throughout that series, the progression as that confidence was built to play more and more aggressive, to play more and more decisive.
So as long as they can keep that happening, I know it got slowed down because they were nervous, and the question is, do these players get nervous going into Worlds? I know in the semis it was like, ooh, CLG upset us twice in a row in the finals. We don't want that to happen here. And then game 1, it happened again against C9, but they shook that off, and if that form remains, then that's a really big deal here.
Yeah, and I think that's also why games in places like this are so important for their growth, because the pressure is never higher than when there's 15,000 plus screaming fans, like as you're walking on stage and hyping them up. And you could tell they're a little jittery at the start of the game. But by those final team fights in game 4, they were playing at the top of their game.
Absolutely agree. So that's going to do it here for us. Thank you so much, Toronto. We're going to send it down to the analysts, though, to close out the weekend.
Great cast on the day and the weekend to everybody, gentlemen. And now to finally discuss what has gone down on the weekend, I do have to...
Thank you.
Congratulations, 3-1. You voted correctly. The only one on the TSM would take it.
Little did you know, Rev, I was a TSM fan all along, black and white. Look at this. There we go.
I dressed black and white.
All right, well, these guys live in a delusion. We're going to talk about why you actually thought TSM was going to be able to come out victorious in this series.
The biggest thing to me was just, I think, how they match up. We identified that, like, individual skill-wise, they seem very similar, but I think TSM over the course of the season has always found ways to just make plays happen. They're not always the biggest, the flashiest, and I think we saw a great example of it where in this game, Bjergsen's able to get the flash off Jensen, and a minute and a half later they come back and they're able to kill him. It's those kinds of plays that they have been making over and over again to the point where I thought that over the course of a series they would make more of those kinds of plays to win the whole thing.
Also, it's their ability to deal with failures, right? These games were not perfect. Both teams were making mistakes, and yet it's the team that's able to come back after making a mistake and then follow that up with the correct play over and over, without going down that path and spiraling out of control.
And it takes kind of switching things up at the last moment. We're going to bring up our first replay here to get into that because this was absolutely crazy. So many questions to go around this is, why don't we see things like this more? But let's focus on
We
this
see
first.
Sven starting red buff, and we've seen Talias do this time and time again, and just such a great play. As soon as we see them, you make the read, not even from how Jensen's playing the lane, but just from the pick itself. Talias have been doing this all the time.
Exactly.
Just from that play alone, Bjergsen's already winning lane. Lane's over, you've lost.
Yeah, and I think that's such a big thing too, because the whole plan of C9 there was, you have the stronger bot lane and top lane. You get the Talia out of lane at 6 and starts trying to snowball those lanes. And the fact that she was kind of getting dumpstered in the early parts, partially due to that play, it just set up the early game to go in TSM's favor, which obviously, it didn't snowball as hard as we might have thought, but getting through that early game through the strength of the mid lane play was pretty
And it
important.
slows Talia down so much.
You're
You
right.
want to see that champion go to the side lanes with her ult non-stop, and we barely saw it, and that just has to do with how much pressure she was under from that first blood play. And it's so disheartening to play a game where right from the start, 2 minutes in, the main focus of your plan is already fallen through.
The importance of planning, right? Going into the game, they planned this from the champion select screen, right? And that gave them such a big, lead in the early game. As you said, it wasn't over after that, right? Meteos made a really good counterplay on the bottom side to get something going for Cloud9. That's why this ended up being so close to try and focus on the double lift lane and try and get him behind.
And like you said, the planning is so interesting. What you can go back and see with Bjergsen continuously taking the Cassios. The last time that's then banned against C9, so they'll probably take the Talia. Oh, great, we can use that Talia strat. There could be so much that went into this, and it could have just been that pick ban. But you see how TSM has these things played out already. And the last 2 games came down to just about those last 5v5 fights. We're going to bring up now 40-30 into this game with Doublelift going huge. And this is what these fights take. We saw Impact doing the same thing on the other side to try and win it for them.
Oh god, this was such a hard-fought game in itself, and then this fight in particular was just so close. This wall by Jensen's actually going to be really good to split up Doublelift from the rest of the front line, and it allows C9 to just focus the front 2 most members, with Doublelift not really being able to throw any autos in here until right about the very end.
They get the critical kill onto Bjergsen, and they see Doublelift low, but he had saved the heal. Something that Doublelift does so often, keeps on baiting at extremely low health, saves his defensive cooldowns for that last second to draw you in, and then the counterattack from TSM.
And the heartbreaker for me was watching C9 do this every time. They're so good at the fights. They started off, they know what to look for, but they keep pushing just too hard. And every time they push too hard.
Oh, my heart. Stop that.
That reaction so many times.
They pushed too many times where they shouldn't have. Instead of playing the TSM game where you take the advantage and then you pull back, look for it again, and eventually each chip away is going to be bigger, they keep looking for the massive play. We want to ace you right away, and that's just not the way that the current meta is played.
And it's a double-edged sword, right? It's so easy for us to be like, oh yeah, that's doing it way too hard. But in the same thing, oh, why are they waiting so long? Why aren't they taking these opportunities? League of Legends is such a strategic game now. It's all about good decision making.
Yeah, it was a split-second decision for Jensen. They flash in there, which puts him right into the culling and just gets blown up. And a second ago, he was close to full health.
They had the lead, right? They had just killed Bjergsen.
Yeah, you think that fight's going so well, and just other way.
It's how it happens. That is League of Legends. And now with our summer final champions crowned, we can take a look back at the completed playoff bracket. TSM are your 2016 NALCS Summer Champions. This auto qualifies them on, and quite a road to get here throughout the summer split. They almost made it easier for themselves, and that's the way you got to do it. Give yourself the easy road. We've doled out all the championship points available for the 2016 NALCS season, with TSM auto qualifying in, as we said, as the first seed. CLG has earned second seed with a total of 130 championship points. And obviously the faith was coming in from CLG fans. Even Stixay himself said, I want that TSM jersey. TSM and CLG will now join the other 8 teams who have already qualified for Worlds. And those are from Korea's LCK, ROX Tigers and SKT. From China's LPL, EDG, RNG, and recently IME. From the European LCS, G2 and H2K, as we saw this weekend. And from the LMS, Flash Wolves. With now the North American LCS having TSM representing first and CLG at second. The remaining 4 NALCS playoff teams are all back in action next weekend, with North America's 3rd seed at Worlds on the line. The NALCS Regional Qualifier is a gauntlet-style tournament that kicks off Saturday at noon Pacific and continues through Monday, September 5th. Mark it on your calendars. You better be there. Tune in to watch as Liquid, Team Envy, Cloud9, and Immortals battle it out for their last chance to qualify at Worlds. It has been a crazy split, crazier to see the teams that we're still seeing go into the gauntlet that we thought would we already be riding that Worlds ticket.
And from what we've seen today and yesterday, it's hard to think that Team Liquid and Envy are going to be able to put up much of a fight against Cloud9 against Immortals.
That's true.
It's most likely looking like a rematch of the semifinal matchup that went to best of 5. And if that best of 5, that Cloud9 was able to go to almost 5 games against TSM, I mean, the number 1 to 3 seeds of NA are going to be
well, hey, you're hoping, right? You were those guys' practice partners coming into this, so maybe you have an idea.
Yeah, I think the hard thing, though, is that C9 and Immortals didn't seem too upset by their loss. Well, Immortals won, but C9 didn't seem too upset by their loss. You heard Smoothie be like, I guarantee it, we're going to Worlds. And to have so much confidence, as well as just getting a lot of on-stage practice in the current meta, I think that they're just a step ahead of the other teams there in the regional qualifier.
They really understand what it means to run the gauntlet. There's the experience there, as well as kind of having a voice of Meteos come back in, something that they had been losing, and now he's finding this drive. It feels like with those options of Zach, maybe that does throw off some of the lower teams, those pocket picks that they can bring out. It's going to be difficult for them. We see Immortals as well, like you said, obviously going to be very tough to stop them going through. Is there any chance? Do we see somebody maybe knocking them down because of what happens to them at the end of the
this gauntlet is going to be extremely exciting. The number 2 and number 3 placing teams from Summer are fighting for that one spot, and only one person gets to go, right? Because CLG made it off of points, so they get to slip right by them.
It's going to be so
through
crazy.
the crack. Like, we made it.
Like, nobody look what happened here. Spring split, baby. It matters.
Hey, they at least took Immortals to Game 5, and C9 took Immortals to Game 5 as well. So I just think the whole tournament's going to be pretty crazy.
All right, well, that is going to do it for us here at the Air Canada Centre. We want to thank the kind folks here at the venue and all of our Canadian fans for bringing the love. Now, for myself, the casters, analysts, and the entire live broadcast crew, thanks for joining us here, and I think I can say for all of us, oh, Canada! We'll see you at the regional qualifier.
Yeah, Canada!
The North American LCS is locked in and ready to roll. I want to get your thoughts on Biofrost in his LCS debut. I love him. Right?
Bjergsen with another kill! Semifinals on the 2! Rooney diving back in, but the damage is massive! TSM! Undefeated in the North American LCS. They've been unstoppable. Touchdown for Babby. Here's Fomelter. Huge ulti back in. Scoops them all in. Fomelter's in the house.
Envy are 4-0.
Oh my god, dude, the Matrix. I'm Morpheus is Neo. Boom, baby.
A nice knock goes out of the bar. Oh! temper your expectations, Energy, because you're all going down.
He's Rengar ranges away.
Oh my God! A quadra-kill for Sneaky. The pentakill has saved the game. He's going for the penta. Pentakill for Jensen. Wild Turtle's out. It's the pentakill.
Fuck you, Doublelift. This is not your penta. Oh, is it? Oh, shit, it is.
Doublelift brings up the pentakill.
And Nori's on the Nexus. They're able to spoil TSM off the back of a Nori. Another kill. Phoenix 1 have done it. They have defeated TSM.
Oh, yeah.
Here we go. What's this in? Look at Mark. Oh, Doublelift gets 1,000 kills.
All right, I love you guys. I love you guys.
어떻게 될지는 잘 모르겠어요. 근데도 저는 충분히 뭐 좋은 친구 아니면 형 동생 사이로 남아 있을 의향은 있어요.
It's the 3-0 for Echo Fox to hold on to their spot in 2017. Then we bid farewell to Energy Esports.
Well, this is like our last opportunity to actually show like how good we can be. It's do or die right now.
We can prove that even Ross is gonna do well.
I want a 3-peat, and I know we can do it.
Stixxay, Phoenix going in. Stixxay gets into the special, turns around on the ultimate, and what a ridiculous outplay! Counter Logic Gaming move on to face TSM.
And the kills keep going to Jensen.
19-20 could be on the board. That's number 20 for Jensen. Cloud9 take it 3-1 over Envy and move on to face Immortals.
Oh my God! Wow, the flash and the everything, a lot of damage dealt out. He's gonna get the solo kill.
Impact is playing out of his mind.
Cloud9 look for their 5th final, and they're going as a wonderful team to Canada.
TSM will take it. They will head to Toronto, and they will challenge C9 for the finals.
It's actually unreal to be back home with my family and to have them here and be surrounded by thousands of incredible fans.
They bruise, they bleed, but they never, ever die. Immortals conquer the North versus Counter Logic Gaming. Hello everyone and welcome to the main event. It's time to start. Let's go into game 1. The snipe goes through, Meteos takes him out, and it's gonna be a whitewash. But into the back line they go, a double already for Bjergsen. Jensen gets him! It's an ace for Cloud9!
Impact is a god in this series.
They're killing them all! Kills everybody! He's got 3! Impact goes down! An ace for TSM! TSM cement themselves as the most dominant organization in North American League of Legends and win their 4th North American Championship!
Disappointment last year in Vegas, and now finally victory is theirs.